Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. I am so excited to have this esteemed guest on the show. This is Vijay Srivastava. I don't know if I did that, Vijay, okay, but it's close. I appreciate you. He's with International Academy of Entrepreneurship and Employability. The website scrolling across the bottom. He's coming to us all the way from India. And so I'm honored to have you on the show, my friend. Good morning or good evening for you. Welcome.
Thank you, Ted. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity to address the global audience through your platform, the TED Show. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You're very welcome. I saw your profile. I think we're on LinkedIn, but we're on other things together. But LinkedIn is such a powerful way for the global community to connect, and I certainly love the fact that we connected there. So shout out to LinkedIn for that. All right. So before we went live, I told you that the audience loves to know the 411, the origin story of VJ. So give us a little background on you, my friend, and talk about your journey to International Academy of Entrepreneurship. And then we'll take a deep dive into that.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you. Very good day to all from every part of the world. I'm Vijay K Srivastava. I belong to a middle class family from India. My dad was a technocrat, my mom was a homemaker. I started my journey post my graduation and post graduation from Jawaharlal Nehru University in the corporate world. I'm a sociologist by educational qualification and a human resource professional with my more than 2 decades of experience, close to 3 decades now. And since last 1 decade, I have been working in the space to create this institution named International Academy of Entrepreneurship and Employability to serve humanity and to save humanity all around the world. Briefly speaking, this is what I am. Yeah. Please, Ted,
Yes. So
you want to.
te- tell us about your your college, your background on that. You mentioned it a little bit. It's one thing to have a college degree and to do practice, but how did you become involved in entrepreneurship and employability? What was the driving factor?
Ted, this journey has been very challenging, very enjoying, and of course, a great learning through and through. When I started my career post my masters and had an opportunity to work with multinational companies like McDonald's International is one of them, which is where my foundation of creating an institution started. And I thought of creating an institution which is which is going to be catering to the basic need of humanity all around the world by extending livelihood solutions to each and every person as a fundamental human rights at their doorstep. So that's the origin. My educational qualification has been I have been in a university which is considered to be a leftist university called Jawaharlal Nehru University, which was into a great controversy few years back since when the new government took over the charge. However, that's one of the central universities of the country, well known in the world, which is where I did my sociology, master's, and MPhil, and partially my doctorate. And I am an academician. I am a research scholar. I have been in the corporate world, serving corporate world as a human resource professional. So this is how the journey has been.
It's amazing. I love anything to do with entrepreneurship, which obviously is the number one thing in the academy. But before we take a deep dive into entrepreneurship, why is employability part of that? That is to me wonderful, yet not always included when you're talking about entrepreneurship.
See, Ted, that is where we have created this institution, International Academy of Entrepreneurship and Employability. These two factors go as hand in glove kind of thing. So entrepreneurship is basically a socket and employability comes in as a plug which gets into the socket and start charging each other. So entrepreneurship and employability work together, and they have got a relationship, hand and glove kind of relationship. So entrepreneurship is something which creates an opportunity for people to whom we try training them and to make them more and more employable to be absorbed within our cohort, internal cohort itself, through a startup movement.
I love
So
that. I love,
that's how,
and
and that is,
go ahead, my friend.
sorry,
No, no, go ahead.
that is where we are differentiating from any other business incubation school or business incubation institution or accelerators from all around the world. There is no institution talking about putting these two things together and presenting it to the humanity to either to become a brand. And that is where we have got a, let's say, this hashtag which on it, be a brand, which connotes directly with entrepreneurship, and build a brand which connotes directly with employability. And these two, three, four pillars work together to give a push to humanity to reach towards dignified livelihood solution, which is what we are targeting to achieve for our 7+ billion population of this world.
It's so amazing the way that you speak about it. You mentioned humanity a lot, so that tells me a lot about what your real focus and mission are. And kudos to you. I think that's awesome. Tell us about entrepreneurship a little bit. I think people don't know how to define it, and they might have the entrepreneurial spirit, but they don't necessarily know the steps to take to bring into fruition what their dream is of being an entrepreneur. Can you give them a pointer or two? Can you give them a piece of advice or a nugget to take with them on how they can begin their entrepreneurial journey instead of just sitting on the fence about it?
You see, that's where our model is again. We have got four stages for anyone to be an entrepreneur and to get into this entrepreneurship world. The very first stage, what we talk about is initiation, and which is what we call is the stage where one starts thinking and one starts overcoming the fear of entering into the journey of entrepreneurship. So that is called initiation, which is what we call it here in India. In Hindi, we call it abhay. Abhay is something the person becomes fearless. So unless and until you prepare yourself and oneself is prepared to be fearless, any kind of calamity coming in my way, I know as an entrepreneur I can take care of the same, and I can handle it within our own cohort. So that's the very first stage. One has to be fearless. One has to be fearless. Second stage, we go to the second level, which is where we call it. This is basically innovation stage. Once you are out of this fearless form of having any kind of like say fear in your mind, okay, you start innovating. You start innovating. Once the innovation happens, you really happen to create something. You land up creating something, and whatever you create, that becomes a differentiating thing only when you know that okay, what I'm doing it not only for myself, not for the self, for the society, for the community, for the humanity. That is where the innovation has to be done. It's not me, it's not self, it's for the society. So that is the second stage. So these are the two stages which one has to prepare oneself to go through to become an entrepreneur. The third stage and the fourth stage, I'll talk it later, part of this discussion. Yes, sir.
Beautiful. I think, first of all, I love the word fearless. I think a lot of people are actually afraid of that word, which is kind of funny. They're afraid of being fearless because with fearlessness comes this risk. This you aren't in control, is what a lot of people think, and just being fearless is just a mindset. Tell me what you did, and I love it, by the way. Tell me what you saw in 2020 with the pandemic. You're in a part of the world that is still, it's just going through a second wave of some craziness with COVID. What did you do to pivot during 2020, BJ? What did you do with your work and entrepreneurship and employability during probably the craziest, most unprecedented time in my lifetime anyway? What did you all do to pivot to make sure you could continue to deliver your message and give back to humanity?
Uh, it was not my alone effort, it was the effort of IAEEGlocal worldwide family members, wherein since when this pandemic started and the lockdown started, which was announced by our Honorable Prime Minister of the country on 28th of March 2020, that was the time when some of our members who come from the bottom of the pyramid, the downtrodden section of the society, in India, they belonged to a street hawkers group. They were street hawkers. They were basically running their small shops in the road, which were closed. So when we got in touch with these people and we started inquiring about their well-being, of course, they were crying, and we just consoled them and told them that, no, please don't cry. We will take care of you guys, and we will take care of your livelihood. That is where we had one of our incubatees who happened to be running his pest control and fumigation company. We brought in uh, hundreds of street hawkers together, trained them to be a professional sanitization and sterilization professionals.
Beautiful.
Okay, with
I,
this company. Went to the
I,
government, brought in some of these opportunities wherein sanitation and sterilization was required. All these people were engaged. They started earning livelihood, and their life was very much noble. That is what we did. One, two. There were people, like say most of the people, most of the organization in India, they started reducing number of employees. They started reducing wages. Wage cutting started happening here. That is where we started requesting most of the employers and the CEOs of the company of my group, and started requesting them that allow these people to get into dual employment, which is what, as per the law of land, was not allowed by the government of India. However, my friends, and thanks a lot to all those CEOs and business operators from within the country who allowed them to go for dual employment to actually compensate their income to take care of their family needs. So these were the two milestones which we created in a very innovative way to help our people come back to the normal livelihood status.
well, as I'm listening to you, VJ, I just the
Yes,
word that
Ted.
comes to mind is you are so full of heart. And where does your compassion for people come? Where does your passion for giving back and impacting humanity come from? Is it a faith? Is it family? Is it was the way you were raised? Is it just innate in you? Because you have a very calming approach when you talk. You're very calm, and you can tell that you care. Where does that come from?
Uh, Ted, it's the inspiration coming into me from my parents, my father, Sri Sambhu Sharan Srivastava, and my mother. These were the two people who made me what I'm today. And of course, I'm carrying on the mandate of my mother and my father to serve humanity around the world by creating enterprises all across the world through startup movement, create more and more employment opportunities here in India, in Africa, in other Asian countries, and bring in people on board to get them the basic dignified livelihood with themselves. And once we find some people that okay, they are above those dignified livelihood level, and they have got spare time, spare money, spare intellectual capabilities, then we start doing hand holding for them to create wealth. So it's only and only my father and my mother. These are the two people who have played the role in my life and who have made me what I'm today. And out of that only, Ted, I'm serving this world, and I'm determined to reach to the 7 plus billion population of this world through my technology platform. And of course, in International Academy of Entrepreneurship and Employability is going to be the Amazon and Google of entrepreneurship and employability in the world. There is nobody who can compete with us. There is nobody who can stop us because we are, our intent is very clear, our objective is very clear that we had to be there in each and every house through our technology, through our drive, humanity drive to reach to their doorstep.
Thank you for sharing a piece of your heart. I could tell you got a little choked up when you were talking about your parents. I love that. And I love that you're willing to share your heart and your mission and your passion with the world. All right, Vijay, tell us how we can find out more about International Academy of Entrepreneurship and Employability. How can they reach you and how can they get involved in your movement?
We have our offices in India, in UK, and of course, we are going to have our third chapter in Nigeria. You can reach us through our URL, write us on our email, connect at the rate IAEEGlocal.com. You can also establish connect with me directly by setting up a virtual coffee meet, and we can meet up, and we look forward. We are scouting for international country chapter heads from different parts of the world to be appointed as a partner because International Academy of Entrepreneurship and Employability does not subscribe to the philosophy of employer and employee. We don't have any employee. Today, we have got 50 plus co-founders pan globe.
Wow.
However, we don't have even a single employee. We don't have a single employee. We bring in employees on board with us only when we start working on innovative startups. And even out of that, Ted, let me tell you, if we land up having 10 employees in a startup company, out of that 10 employees, 3 to 4 of them are generally converted or upgraded to the level of entrepreneur within a time span of 6 months to 1 year time. So that's how
Amazing.
things start rolling out within our system. And that is how we are operating. Our objective is to create a non academic, humanitarian, social entrepreneurship venture under the brand name of International Academy of Entrepreneurship and Employability, wherein we have a hub of job creators all around the world, not job seekers. Less and less job seekers, more and more job creators, more and more innovators, ideators, social imagineers, people who can imagine, people who can understand how things are suffering in like there are people, can you believe it, that let me share certain examples with you. I belong to a country where we have got people full of talent, talented people all around the country. However, I'm sorry to state the fact that the employability level of these people are very low. They are not employable. So that is where our effort is to make this human resources, people resources within India or any other country, make them more and more employable, get them absorbed within our own cohort, make them innovators, make them ideators, give them an opportunity to create more and more opportunities in the sense like say, startups. Okay, startups, the startup movement which is there all around the world today. Let me tell you that is something which is what is going to be giving an opportunity to everyone to have the real, sincere, and dignified piece of life with themselves. Okay, so that is what is our objective, and that is where we are working so very hard, each and every member of our mission entrepreneurship and mission innovation club. what we call me and my club. Every member is the owner of this institution. I'm not the owner. I'm just a founder. I'm just a founder. I'm not the owner. The owner is each and every member of Mission Entrepreneurship and Mission Innovation Club. I'm not the owner, sir. Everybody, all those people who are operating in a country, they are the owners. I'm not the owner. My needs are pretty small. Okay, I believe in keeping myself confided to my needs. I'm not a greedy guy, and I'm of course I belong to a country which is where the father of nation is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, who spoke about one and only one thing. That is, the moment we convert our need into greed, it becomes a problem, and that is what is one of our objectives. Okay. Beside this trade, let me tell you, I proudly share this information with the world that International Academy of Entrepreneurship and Employability is basically we follow values, ethics, and our constitution has been made on the foundations of two organizations. One is McDonald's International, which is what is close to my heart. McDonald's, and the second one is Tata Trust. These are the two corporations, global corporations, putting it together. What we have done, we have come up with our constitution, and we have built in this institution wherein we welcome each and every person of the world to come and join us, join our me and my club to be a part of this mission and movement, global mission and movement of entrepreneurship and employability to create more and more dignified livelihood solutions, to create more and more opportunities for everyone to create wealth for self, for the family, and for the society. Okay, and whatever we are doing, that whatever we are doing, that is in alignment with sustainable development goals of UN Charter 2015, and we have to hit Agenda 2030 of United Nations Development Program, that is Sustainable Development Goals. That's it. Thank you, Ted. You gave me a brilliant opportunity to let the world know that what we are doing, sir. Thank you, sir.
What you're doing is amazing. You are a blessing. Your International Academy is a blessing. Thank you, Vijay, for being on the show. Anyone watching, it's IAEEGlocal.com. But you can also find Vijay on LinkedIn. Reach out to him, get involved, become part of the movement. Vijay, thank you so much for being on the show. You are amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on very late because it's so much later over there. But keep being a blessing, my friend. Come back anytime. Y'all go
Thanks
out
a
and
lot, Ted.
support.
Thank
Support
you. Have a
VJ.
great evening. Take care. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.